Welcome back, everyone. It's time for episode 41 of the Horns Up Podcast, your weekly catch-up on all things metal. I am your host, Dan Kaplan, coming to you, as always, from New York. With me from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, he didn't get to 1 million friends without making a few enemies. It's Corey Butterworth. Corey, how's it going?
I'm fine, but I can't remember why we went with that again.
It is our first headline story of the day, involving metal bands and
That's
some little panties in a knot over Facebook, but we'll get to that later. What's going on up your way? How's the snow? How's the weather?
Well, it's been better. It cleared up a little bit on Sunday, and then it snowed again yesterday, and it cleared up a little bit more today. It's actually been pretty good. It's been pretty decent. It'll be a little chillier the next few days, but shit. I mean, it seems like I'm gonna knock on something here. Wood. Yeah, it seems like the worst is over. We'll see what happens. I mean,
oh man,
yeah.
Well, we have less than 48. We have T-minus 48 hours until this show. Well, actually, quite a bit less than that because this thing starts at 7? I think on Friday.
Yeah. So that's going to be a blitz. You're going to get to Boston around 4:30 or so. Let's hope it's on the early side of that equation. Then a quick 20-minute train ride over to the House of Blues to get there hopefully by 5, where we'll be able to squeeze in an hour of VIP time. Because show starts at 7, doors at 6.
Yeah, we'll see. By the time some of you guys listen to this, we'll probably actually be at the show because delayed reaction time and work and catching up later, things like that. But yeah, well, glad things have stabilized up there at any rate, weather-wise. Sure. We had actually a 40-something degree day in the cards coming up. I believe it actually might be Friday as well, so I will miss it. But it's I'm in the middle of a hell week at work. I have like 3 or 4 major projects converging all at once, and I'm in my second 3-day week in a row. Last week I had off for Monday and Friday for President's Day and Lincoln's birthday. That is a thing that I get in my day job. And this week I've been at work the first 3 days. Obviously I'm going up to Boston on Friday. Tomorrow, Thursday, as of our recording, my office is doing a retreat. So nice. We effectively lose a whole day of productivity. I have these 3 or 4 major projects I'm working on a reduced schedule, and it just fucking sucks. It's the worst, and I hate it. But that's what the weekend's for. I'll drink my beer, I'll get my re-raw brunch, and forget about the day job for a while. Forget about all that nonsense.
Yeah.
Damn nonsense.
I gotta find that video again and just share it with the world.
Well, someone this of course, folks, we're talking about I can't even say our friend Nick Manning. I don't want to be friends with him.
That'd be really, really generous.
Yeah. There's a fellow named Nick Manning who, if y'all aren't familiar, appeared in some movies of the adult persuasion.
Yeah. The dude likes plow.
He likes plowing, he likes dropping loads, and he makes that abundantly clear in his movies. And some amazing soul, several years ago, we discovered this. And this is going back to when we were at Syracuse, I think.
Yep.
Some amazing soul on the internet compiled a group of Nick Manning sound bites from his films and put together a sound board for the internet. I think we found it on E-Bombs World or whatever, not E-Bombs World, College Humor, whatever the hell sites were the big things back then. And endless hours of fun in our time at Syracuse with that thing. But I haven't been able to find it. I think it's gone. I think whoever uploaded it took it down, or the site took it down or something, because I had a hankering recently for my sound button, my dropping fucking loads sound button, and I couldn't get it.
Yeah.
It was a shame. I was disappointed. But
all the disappointment belongs to Nick Manning.
He didn't give a shit, I'm sure. It's all for us. But anyway, this is not the Nick Manning Soundboard podcast. This is the Horns Up podcast. So let's get into our normal content.
Okay.
Some headlines for the week. Starting off the story I was alluding to earlier when talking about Corey getting to 1 million friends without making some enemies. Band out of Tampa, Florida, a band called Illuminate Me, post-hardcore heavy metal group, started a petition against Facebook and their advertising and sponsored post rates earlier this week. The petition is on change.org. It's trying to get 50,000 signatures, and the goal is to get Facebook to, quote, remove having to pay to reach fans and followers. Vocalist Chris Murray claims he's had to not only pay to get new followers, but then also pay to have their updates even reach those followers once he's acquired them. Quote, on my band's Facebook page, for example, nearly 25,000 likes, I have paid up to $3,000 in Facebook advertising to get the amount of people connected to it that it has now, on top of the heavy touring that we do. I need to pay Facebook now $150 if I want one of my posts to reach all of the people I already paid to get in the first place. I have even talked to bigger acts that rely on communication with their fan base to sell their product, and the price can get up to $2,000 or more. You know, when we talked about this earlier in the week, I don't know where you stand on this right now. When we talked about this earlier in the week, I was kind of looking at it from both sides. I mean, I could see the band angle. I could see the Facebook angle. I have since, thinking about it, I've since kind of leaned toward one direction on this. But I want to get your take on it. What do you think of all this? Like, what's your take on this Illuminate Me petition and their goal here?
Right. I mean, you're right. There are two ways to look at this, and yeah, that's what we talked about earlier in the week. I can see both sides of it. For a band that's up and coming, what Facebook may charge could be absurd. It could be a lot, and from what I've seen from these guys from Illuminate Me, yeah, it's a little ridiculous. The other side of it is Facebook is in fact providing a service. They have every right to charge whatever they want for that service. And the market can play its course. I mean, granted, part of this comes from my economics background, so there's that. I don't know. It's really hard for me not to. I don't want to say side because it wouldn't be a full blown. I wouldn't be siding with any direction entirely. For example, it's hard for me to really just jump on Facebook's team with this one. It really is. But I think I might lean a little bit in that direction. They don't have to use it. I understand it might be a necessity to reach your fans or whatever, but I really think if they're having this much of an issue to the point where they want to get a petition with 50,000 signatures or whatever, dude, just start abusing other social media forums. Like, really, that won't do that for you,
Right. And he does mention that. He does say that the band is active on Twitter and Instagram because they don't do stuff like this yet. Instagram is owned by Facebook. So it may only be a matter of time. But he did mention that in the petition. My take on this, I have to lean toward Facebook on this because in general, because I got a couple of reasons here. First, why is this guy paying to get people to like his band on Facebook in the first place?
That's a fair point.
He talks about heavy touring. How much heavy touring and fan base building are you doing that you still have to pay to get followers? I mean, I can't totally comment here because I'm not in a band. I've never had to go about it like that. But the way I see it, if you had the choice between 25,000 fans that you'd paid for versus 3,000, let's say, that you'd really earned, that you'd gone out there and been total road warriors and gotten people to really like your stuff, buy your merch, you name it. Which one would you take? I mean, there's no contest here. I would have to take a smaller number of fans over ones that I paid Facebook to get.
This is going to be kind of fun for me. I'm going to tie this into Greek life versus us life back in college.
Right.
What's better? A fake metal fraternity where you pay nothing and it's just 7 ridiculous human beings for those that didn't necessarily live in the house, just being absurd, friends pay nothing for, or dropping $1,000 per year in dues to be in a fraternity. I mean, whose friendships are you going to value more? I understand you might go through some shit with your frat brothers and stuff like that, but you're still kind of forced to be friends with them.
Yeah.
I got
and you're never gonna hear people talk ill of their frat brothers, because it's like, oh, love that dude, totally awesome, totally diesel, blah, blah, blah,
love
blah.
that dude. Yeah.
Second on this front, I question whether this guy really understands how social media or marketing in general really work. On Facebook, people like lots of pages and they get lots of updates from those pages. To say nothing of all the stream of updates that they get from all of their friends when their friends send stuff around or post stuff or post pictures, you name it. Like, they might have 25,000 fans, but none of those 25,000 fans have Illuminate Me as the only page or connection that they like. So
exactly.
Like you're dealing with a steady stream as people's other likes and pages and friends post updates. Yours are going to get bumped. I'm sorry, dude. That's how it works.
Right.
When you look at marketing metrics, you can never expect to get 100% conversion rate on this stuff. I don't care whether it's Facebook, whether it's email marketing. Most people see 25 to 30% as a good figure, as a target.
Oh, that's a great figure.
Right. 100%? Never. It's not going to happen. I don't care if you're doing Facebook, email marketing, whatever. You're never going to convert 100% of your audience on your own. Right. Hence, having to pay to boost these conversions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's simple. Third, dude, Facebook is a business. It is a publicly traded company. They have shareholders to appease. They have money to make. If you're going to use their system, you have to be aware of this stuff. You have to be willing to play by its rules. If that means paying to get your posts boosted, that's what it means. This is what you signed up for.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was saying. I mean, it's a business. It's a market. Facebook can charge whatever the fuck they want to charge as far as I'm concerned. If it's too astronomical where nobody agrees to do it, guess what? The market will play its course and Facebook would suffer. Unfortunately, you can't make them change their market research. It's not going to happen. Or change what they gather from market research. It just isn't going to happen. I mean, you'd think if this was a real issue, and again, this all ties back to, as far as I'm concerned, if you want fans, give a reason to get fans. Impress people on tour, make them come to you. Don't friggin' make Facebook just try to fucking drive your band's name into people's periphery for a couple times a week. I don't know. I just the more we're talking about it, and I originally was siding with Facebook more than this one. The more I talk about it, the more I'm leaning in that direction. I really am. And the fact of the matter is, a petition of 50,000 signatures or whatever they're looking for, it's not gonna do shit.
Facebook's going to look at that and laugh.
Yeah, it's not going to do fucking anything.
It's going to be like boo-hoo for you.
Right.
The one thing I will say is this. I would be kind of concerned if Facebook is just sort of arbitrarily determining sponsoring its post boosting rates.
Sure.
On Illuminate Me's petition page on the change.org page, the cover image is what appears to be a screenshot. I don't know if it's from their page or just in general, a screenshot of Facebook's ad rates for post boosting. One of which asks for $150 to boost a post to just 250 to 200 or to 660, 250 to 660 additional viewers. Now, that seemed low to me. For $150, that seemed very low. I had a look at my works Facebook page, the Facebook page that I use for my day job, and am on constantly sharing stuff. And I looked at the sponsorship and the post boosting rates on that, and $150 would get you between 32,000 and 84,000 viewers. So that's a little weird. Again, I don't know if that's a genuine picture on the change.org page or if that's been photoshopped to, sort of cater to this guy's. Yeah. But if we take it at face value and assume it is real, that disparity is kind of fucked up. Especially for, for a big organization like I work for versus a small band who is just trying to, nickel and dime their way and make it as professionals out there.
Squeeze as much out of every penny as they can.
Right. It
I
doesn't seem
honestly,
like...
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, it doesn't seem like there's rhyme or reason to it, assuming that both of these rates are accurate depictions.
I don't want to call these guys out. I don't know the full story, and I don't know what the truth is, but I really, really don't think a company that has shareholders like you mentioned that they're trying to appease would just arbitrarily determine rates for their clients. I really don't think it's that much of a crapshoot. I would trust that given the stance of Facebook in the market, there's a little bit more that goes into what they determine is an appropriate price.
Right. So, yeah. So we'll see. I mean, that's a potential snag. At the same time, I don't really know that Chris Murray and Illuminate Me have much of an argument here. To his own point that he made in the petition. Like, if you don't like it, get on Twitter, get on Instagram. We have a following on Twitter much more so than we do on Facebook. And I understand, like,
Facebook is more or less useless.
Yeah. Like, we're not getting diddly shit on Facebook and we don't care. Like, we're on it. But I mean, granted, we are also doing this as our day job. We're not dependent on the podcast for our income. And this is obviously less problematic for us. So
yeah, this is a
take
hobby.
our thoughts with a grain of salt. But that's that. We've been ranting about this for 10 minutes now, so I'm going to wrap that up here. I don't think the other headlines are going to take maybe half as long combined, so this will be fun. But yeah, Illuminate Me. Head on over to their Facebook page. I believe it's facebook.com/IlluminateMeBand. They've been sharing their petition like crazy, and all coverage they've gotten of their petition like crazy, and those seem to be getting a lot of likes, so who the fuck knows? Anyways, some news. Next up, we got some news from today. Actually, just broke today. Possible. Well, I don't even know. I don't know how likely this is, but rumors going around of a possible sale of Century Media Records to one of the major labels. Century Media Records, maybe you've heard of them. One of the most notable metal labels around, home to bands like At the Gates, Napalm Death, Triptychon, you name it. I think most people will have heard of them. Yeah. Maybe going up and selling themselves to one of the three major labels. Before we move on with this, I just want to say there are three major labels left. We've got Sony, we've got Warner, and we've got Universal. Three. This feels like the Parks and Rec finale last night, where they have like 8 corporations left in the world by the time the show ends. Spoiler alert: I'm going to be talking more about Parks and Rec later. But yeah, we have 3 major labels left, and one of them wants Century Media. Now, according to Blabbermouth, who circulated this rumor earlier today, Sony looks to be the front runner here. Also, from a quote in the Blabbermouth article, we say, the label did not want to comment on ongoing negotiations, but did confirm their interest in a major label acquisition in order to give Century Media a stronger footing at a time of diminishing worldwide sales of sound recordings. So, yeah, goodbye legitimacy, maybe? I don't know. I mean, this would be problematic. I mean, we all know what happened to Roadrunner when they were acquired by Warner a few years ago. There were layoffs. Yeah. The bands were all upset. You name it. It was not good. So to see possibly this kind of thing happening to Century Media, yikes.
Yeah. Yikes.
I mean, they've been on their own since '88. They've been doing it old school, doing it independent. So. Right.
And they've, obviously they've put out some of our favorite albums and bands out there.
Heck yeah.
I don't see any. I don't want to be pessimistic, but I don't see any good coming from this. I understand the reason behind it. I understand it's, again, we're talking a lot about this tonight, but it's the market. It's an industry that isn't obviously on the upswing, and they're just trying to find a way to better their situation as a business.
Right.
I totally get it. Integrity might be compromised, the bands might be compromised, so on and so forth. That sucks. I hope it doesn't go as poorly as, what you talked about with Roadrunner, so on and so forth, but shit, that's the way it kind of goes, though.
Right.
At least from recent situations. So, I don't know. Who knows? It's kind of, I'm bummed, dude. I'm actually bummed about this.
Yeah, I'll say.
Stupid.
I'll say. So we will see. I mean, I don't know exactly, if and when this is really going to happen, but
we'll see.
Yeah, Century Media. Happy trails, I guess. Final story final story for this week. Nothing terribly new. In fact, this goes back to before last week's podcast aired, episode 40. But couldn't not talk about it a little bit. News from Iron Maiden. Vocalist Bruce Dickinson is being treated for tongue cancer. Band announced this last week. Now, it was caught very early stages. He's expected to make a full recovery, but which is obviously what we want to hear in this situation.
Sure.
But I want to use this opportunity to just like kind of circle back and look at like what's going on in the world of Maiden. You know, they teased a possible new album, possible tour earlier this year in their late last year, I should say, in their Christmas card. And it's looking like, by all accounts from the band, it's looking like this isn't going to affect their planned schedule. So I don't know. Are we going to get a new album? Or are we going to get a new tour? It's been 5 years almost since the Final Frontier. So I'm kind of itching for one here.
I am too.
Actually, I don't know. Am I? I mean, I wasn't nuts about the Final Frontier. Maybe I'm itching for one in the sense that I want some improvement on the Final Frontier, but
right. I don't know. I mean, they're one of those bands. New Maiden is never really a bad thing when you're anticipating it. Right. I mean, first of all, to touch on Bruce Dickinson, obviously, this is sad news. I am fully confident he'll be completely fine. I'm not going to read into any more than that at this point. We just don't have enough knowledge, and the prognosis is super positive, so we can run with that right now.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it was 2 years ago that I saw Maiden at wherever the fuck place in East Buttfuck, Massachusetts was. That was amazing. But pretty much nothing since then, like at all. Really.
Yeah.
I thought they were working on stuff. I was hoping they were working on stuff. Maybe 2015 or 2016 would have shown something, but I don't know anymore. It's been a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen him. I'm trying to think. I've seen him once since Final Frontier came out. They played mostly new stuff. Actually it was I shouldn't say that. I saw them just before Final Frontier came out, and it was on their like only reunion era or later songs tour, which was just disappointing to say the least. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't nuts about the Final Frontier. I was just like, okay, I mean, good job for still doing your thing, but
sure.
It just didn't do a ton for me. I was kind of bored by it. So hopefully they'll get back in there and someone will like dick slap Steve Harris if he tries to write 5 more songs with slow plotting bass intros. And, maybe we'll get a little bit of sonic variation on a new album. I don't know. But, Maiden, obviously hope the best for Bruce. We will, as any further updates emerge on that front, we will certainly keep you guys posted. Now, moving on from headlines, we, as far as I know, we don't have any concerts to speak of this week, do we?
You're right, because I didn't go to Boston for Fallujah Contortionist because it snowed and I got drunk again.
Fucking winter. Fucking Dude, winter, man.
I woke up on
winter is the concert Nazi. It's like
here it is.
No concerts for you.
Here it is. I mean, for fuck's sake. I woke up. Actually stayed in Friday night. I mean, I still drank heavily because duh. But I stayed in. And I was catching up on Fallujah. Revisiting Flesh Prevails or whatever, and remembering how good it was. Obviously, because it had been a few months since I last listened to it, and I was pretty ready to go. And the next day, my friends and I were like, let's go down, let's go get some lunch, get a burger, have a beer. And while we're sitting there, the snow starts falling again. And I'm sitting there drinking a beer, watching the snow. I'm like, you know what? I don't care enough. It's not worth it. It's going to be a shit show. I don't care about Revocation. They're good, but I'm not super invested in them. Contortionists, I really just don't care about. Fallujah's probably going to get about a 30-minute set. Not worth battling the snow-induced bullshit. So, yeah, no, thanks.
Now, was this supposed to be in Boston or at Worcester?
Nope, it was going to be in Boston, which is better. Okay. Obviously, shorter trip. I can take the train if I really want to. So on and so forth.
Also not Palladium.
Fuck the Palladium. Please fucking blow me. That's not nice. I've seen some of my favorite shows there, Behemoth many times, but I just fucking hate going out there. I really do. I'm sorry, Palladium. You're in East Buttfuck nowhere. But yeah, this would have been in Boston at the Brighton Music Hall, really small. It's actually where I saw Legion last year.
Oh, nice.
Which is an awesome place because it was a good time. It was a mess, but it was a good time. It's a good venue, good small spot. It's a shame, but I'm not that worried about it. I'm really not. I haven't been as cocaine addicty about going to shows this year as I was last year, but then again, I didn't start going shows heavily until May.
I'm sorry. I'm still just trying to process the adjective here. Cocaine addicty.
I didn't want to use addicted. I didn't want to use addicted. It wasn't appropriate. Too much appropriate grammar.
I'm just glad that almost 4 years out of school, not grammar is still so very much a thing with us. Cocaine addicty.
Yep. Cocaine addicty.
Well, I have been a little cocaine addicty in my concert ticket acquisitions. I just booked actually earlier this week. It might have been actually after we did our planning call. My roommate and I booked tickets. We're going to see Bad Religion in June, I believe, here in the city. So that's going to be fun. But yeah, so that'll be that's the 14th show I've booked this year. I got to get to 30. I'm hoping to get to 30 by the end of the year. So we shall see on that front. Well, we will obviously be back next week with our thoughts on Behemoth and Cannibal Corpse. But for now, let's move into our album reviews. We've got a decent number this week. We've got 4 to speak of.
Only 2 really worth speaking about, though.
So I guess we'll start off. Let's talk about Torch, because that's probably the highest profile release of the week.
Yep,
I would think.
I would agree.
Torch, their 4th full-length album called Restarter dropped this week. It's on Relapse Records and their first since 2012's Harmonicraft. Corey, what'd you think of this one?
I really liked it. I need to go back and check it out once or twice or 18 more times because I only went through it once. But dude, they have a great sound. It's really cool. I explained it to you. It's almost like you took a Pink Floydian style and fused it with some doom metal, and it's awesome. I loved it. I loved it. But I know you actually wrote about the fucking thing. So what do you think?
Yeah, I loved it. It's just so it's so friggin' bass heavy.
Yeah, it is.
Really, really loved it. They call their sound thunder pop or doom pop or something.
That's weird.
And I think it's the perfect description for them. Now they've got these thick, massive tracks, like crushing tracks, but also have these incredibly catchy harmonies. These I don't want to say poppy, not like bubblegum pop harmonies, but just cadential and very, very, just these harmonies are just so easy on the ears and strong sense of melody. I mean, there are a ton of songs here that I've just been giving so much playtime to on my Spotify this week. Loose Men is fantastic. It's kind of an upbeat number, but then they also do some more mid-tempo stuff like Minions. It closes with the title track that's just absolutely devastating. This thing is like 8.5 minutes, I think, which for a band, Torch for most of their catalog, Torch is they tend to focus on like shorter songs. A lot of the songs here are 2.5, 3 minutes. This one is 8.5, and it just works perfectly for a band that normally dabbles in the shorter fare. They tackle the longer one and just with ease, really. It's a song that I think needs to be their set closer. And if they don't make it their set closer going forward, they're doing themselves and their fans a great disservice. So Torch, Restarter, my highlight of the week. It's out now on Relapse Records. You know what to do. It's on Spotify. Get it there. Let's move on to your albums for the week, starting with a band we both love, going back to our first time at Maryland Death Fest back in 2013. Let's talk about Pelican and their new EP, The Cliff. Now, what'd you think of this one?
Well, first of all, I didn't mind it. I thought it was pretty good. It's not going to be the best thing I've ever heard in my life. It's probably not even going to be something I go back to this year, but it was fine. Pelican is always going to be that band that followed Carcass. Maryland Deathless a couple years ago, which is a fucking shitty situation for an instrumental act. But they were good. They were captivating. They had a nice sound. So I've followed them ish since then. Again, instrumental band, the Cliff EP. It's kind of a takeoff its parent album, Forever Becoming, which came out again in 2013. And
yeah, the Cliff was a song
right.
on Forever Becoming.
Right.
And significantly, on this one, Pelican, normally an instrumental band, they have added vocals to the mix.
And they kind of they definitely did. The first track was just the vocal, I guess you could say the vocal remix of the Cliff. And
right, it's basically the same recording but with vocals.
And I think it was the worst track on the EP. Which is unfortunate. It didn't do anything for me. It was just kind of like, okay, the guy is singing now. That's great. That's cool. I preferred both the Broderick remix and then also the Palms remix of the Cliff, which were the second and third tracks respectively. The Justin Broderick remix, I just thought it had a really cool ebb and flow to it. Had a bit of a modern feel. Just a really, really nice, like blissfully peaceful track that kind of sounded a little bit like a different spin on Pelican. Right. Yeah, the Palms remix. The Palms remix. It's probably my favorite track on the EP. I know I've read numerous reviews about this thing, and I didn't quite get the same impression that a lot of other people did. They seemed like they felt as though it deviated too far from what Pelican is. I never really actually lost touch with Pelican's sound. I just think they incorporated vocals in a really nice way where it kind of just added a different instrumental element to it instead of, just fucking lyrics. And I think the way they used them was respectable, and it was kind of cool. So that was, that was kind of nice. And then the Wait, it is a perfect closer, wraps everything up nicely. It, rises, slowly, and then all of a sudden it's a nice quick jump with some awesome, instrumental work, the Pelican we know and love, and then it eases us back to, ground level quite well. So I thought overall it was nothing wrong with it. It was solid. The vocal version of the Cliff was, the low point, which is unfortunate because I feel like that was kind of maybe the point behind this EP, but I think either way, Pelican uses vocals more in the way they did in the Palms remix, it'll do them some good.
Yeah.
But only if they use it that
certainly, way. It's aligned, if you're going to have vocals, like that's the way to do it to, get it to feel like an otherwise instrumental band.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't hate the EP. I just, it felt kind of superfluous to me.
Yeah.
3 out of the 4 songs are the Cliff, just different remixes. I mean, obviously they don't really sound alike, but it's, I don't know. We talked about this earlier, and you gravitated toward the Palms remix. I gravitated toward the songs with no vocals. So
you went to the Pelican songs.
Right. Yeah. I went to The Wait. I think The Wait is a fantastic song, closing out the EP. And I liked, if I had to pick a remix, I would pick the Justin Broderick remix from Godflesh. It just seemed like, I don't know. It's just like, it just doesn't feel necessary to me. It doesn't add, it was cool. I'm glad they tried it, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to rant and rave about it and tell everyone I know or anything.
Right, exactly. So, that's kind of why I closed. I wrote about the fucking thing, but that's why I'm kind of curious. That's how I kind of closed it. I'm curious as to what they would, if they were to actually utilize that on a full length, how they would do it. If it's intermittently and it's used in the way they use it on the Palms remix, that's one thing. So I'm curious where they go with this. Is this something they keep retreating back to and use again, or is it just like we tried it, let's go back to Pelican? I'm curious. So we'll see what they do going forward.
Yeah. Again, it's the Cliff. It's the new EP from Pelican. It's out now on Southern Lord Records. Check it out. It's on Spotify. You know what to do. Next up.
Jesus Christ. I already know what's happening.
Yes. You can tell by my laughter. We are going to talk about one of the most wildly mediocre albums I've ever heard in my life. And I think actually wildly mediocre might be being generous. Let's talk about Carrick Angren and their new album, This Is No Fairy Tale.
This ain't no fairy tale.
This ain't no fairy tale. I don't know what I really don't care what the
dude,
actual title is. It's not an album I'm going to be listening to again. Carrick Angren, some symphonic black metal. Don't know where they're from. Don't really care. But
they're from the Netherlands.
The Netherlands. Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, this was just all kinds of bad. Listening to this thing was like Seventh Layer of Hell type stuff. I was so bored.
Oh, it's boring as fuck. I mean, here's the thing. This thing had an instrumental opening. I was like, ooh, this sounds cheesy. I could have fun with this. And then that went away as soon as they rolled into an actual song. Which is really upsetting. I mean, there's symphonic black metal that's over the top and cheesy. Looking at you, Demi Borgir, at least later years. And then there's symphonic black metal that's just like, what the fuck am I listening to? That's this. It's just...
This band might have the most like persistently annoying vocalist I've ever heard in my life. He does these like I guess this is kind of a concept album about fairy tales, maybe. I don't know.
I'm gonna read the fuck out of those lyrics. I'm curious.
Yeah. But he does these like stupid little interviews where he plays like characters and he talks like a freaking goblin from Tolkien or something, and it's just the worst. The songs are long. I mean, we've got like a number of like 6, 7, 8 minute songs, and even the shorter ones seem like they take an eternity to get through.
Dude, this is like a 45-minute album that seems like it takes about an hour and a half to get through.
It felt like 2.5, 3 hours maybe when I was listening to it. I don't know.
It's so funny because I set myself up for this when I said I'm going to review this symphonic black metal outfit from the Netherlands that sings about fairy tales. Apparently, I was setting myself up hopefully for something that was just so wildly over the top and try too hardy. I'm going to keep using that non-grammar because I feel like it. And just getting like a chuckle out of it, but being kind of amused by it, sort of like the same way I'm amused by Ailstorm. And it wasn't like that at all. It was just like, yeah, I laughed a few times, completely at their expense, but not because I was like, tapping my foot and just realizing how ridiculous it was. It was just because they don't make sense.
Right.
It's stupid. The whole thing is fucking stupid.
They also have these like kind of conceptual storytelling interludes. Like there's a song called Dreaming of a Nightmare in Eden that is almost like a skit. And it's just so stupid. It's like an extreme metal Trans-Siberian Orchestra or some shit. It's like I don't even know anymore. I didn't make it through the whole thing. I quit after 7 songs. I was just like, nope.
That's actually more
gonna be able to do it.
That's actually more than me. I've gone through 4 so far. I got through 2 Flies Flew into a Black Sugar Cobweb, which is a song. It was just like, you know what? I'll deal with this tomorrow and actually have to write about the fucking thing because I don't want to right now. Guys, it's not good. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. If you want to put something on just to fucking have a laugh and maybe consider suicide over, this is a good one. That's pretty much it.
So, Carrick Angren, This Is No Fairy Tale, I should say. That is the correct title. This Is No Fairy Tale. It's out now on Season of Mist. It's on Spotify, but I really can't recommend that you listen to it. But if you feel the urge, it's there. I want to wrap up new releases this week with an old release, which has kind of become a thing. Something came out. I reviewed it either Sunday or Monday. I can't remember exactly on the blog. But I want to talk about Sarpanitum and their new album, Blessed Be My Brothers. It's out now on Willow Tip Records. Sarpanitum is a Birmingham, UK death metal trio. They just put out, this is their second album, and it's their first in 8 years. You get a chance to listen to this one at all? Or
yeah, and I loved it.
Yeah.
I listened to it probably about an hour ago, and it's fucking awesome. I mean, there are times where it's chaotic, there are times where it's melodic, and it's just awesome.
It's really good. It's like riff overkill. I mean, every time, like the guitars, number one, like the guitars sound amazing. They're just these like really piercing, biting guitar sound. And they just bust out riff after riff after riff, and like tasteful lead after tasteful lead. It's terrific. Lot of really cool. Really cool like interlude songs. They have one called Homeland that feels like really folky and natural, and you really need them. I mean, the for me, the interludes are the most important parts of this album because it is loud. It like once it gets going, it will literally hit you like a ton of bricks. And the interludes are nice to let you catch your breath in that way. Really love this album. My only issue with it was at times the production was a little bit muddy. It felt like listening to that Fallujah album last year, where like they didn't really have the best sense of dynamics. Everything was just like loud. And again, that wasn't a problem throughout the Sarpanitum release, but it did hit a couple of songs, and I was just like, eh. But overall, fantastic listen. Highly recommend it. It's called Blessed Be My Brothers. It is the second full length, and the band is Sarpanitum. So check it out now. It's on Spotify. Do that kind of stuff. So that'll wrap up our reviews. We want to remind you, we've got more on the site every day of the week. Joy did a great review of the new Crypt Sermon album. We've got stuff from Ensiferum on there. We did we had our fun with an All That Remains live blog. It didn't get. I can't wait to read that. It didn't get a full review. No. It wasn't. It's not worth a full review.
Guys,
but we live blogged it and ripped it to shreds.
Guys, it's where hashtag still better than ATR was born. It's a monumental moment. That's a weird thing to say.
If you haven't read it yet, it's on the site. Check it out. We had some fun with it. We had a lot more fun live blogging the album than we did actually listening to it. So, reminder, hornsupmetalshow.com. Check out all these reviews, the live blogs, you name it. That's where we're at. Let's close things out. Let's move into Horns Up and Horns Down. We'll start with Horns Up. Corey, what do you got this week?
I made a beer last weekend. I did. Yeah, it was Sunday. I was gonna help a buddy of mine, help another buddy of mine that I don't know, make beer, and that fell through. And we just looked at each other and were like, "Well, you still want to brew stuff?" It was nice. It was in like the 40s on Sunday, and it was sunny. And we set up shop out in the backyard. We brewed some beer, and I've got 5 gallons of my take on an American Pale Ale sitting in the house. Which, for those unaware, my take on a American Pale Ale is extremely hopped up with Citra hops, which for the beer assholes out there like myself, it's just super citrusy, it's super wonderful, and it's awesome. And I'm gonna stop just using generic positive terms.
Super this, super that, super rabbit,
super rabbit. That's the one. It'll be on tap. It'll be on tap, kegged and on tap, in the house in 3 weeks. So that'll be pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. It was fun. It was good to do it again. It took up an afternoon, but totally worth it. Yeah, I made a beer. It's been about a year, which is absurd for me.
This has become so time consuming that it must be hard for you to find time to actually brew. So it's good to hear you found some time to make that happen.
Yeah, I mean it's that, and it's also just a combination of getting used to a shared space again, where I would feel both guilty and an asshole for just eating up like half the house for half a day.
Sure.
So it's a combination of a lot of
things.
You've
got work and you've got marathon training and all that stuff too. I mean, it's
right.
It's all these things that do not point to brewing.
Right. That's why spring and fall are the best times of year to do it, because you can do it outside, in 4 or 5 hours in the afternoon or whatever. You don't eat up like an entire kitchen, all winter long. You're just cooped up inside here because, in case people haven't noticed, it snowed a couple times. So it's been detrimental to that. So it was good to get back into it. Me and a roommate of mine both brew, so it was fun. It's good. It's maybe I'll fill up a growler and bring it on down to NYC for Enslaved weekend.
For Enslaved.
Have Zach dabble in some beer.
Do that. That also, by the way, is only like 4 weeks away.
I know. Jesus.
I'm super pumped.
So many things.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. Good stuff. I'm glad you were able to get some brewing in. Always good to hear. My horns up for the week. I came to a really awesome realization. Kind of embarrassingly late. I only came to this realization earlier today. Daylight savings time is back a week from Sunday, dude. I'm so excited.
Well, shit.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
March 8th. Yes. Yes, it is. For those out there, I don't know if I've discussed this before, but for those out there who may not know, I have hardcore seasonal affective disorder. It's the worst, especially when you live here in New York City and you have all these tall ass buildings that block the sunlight, even when, the 8-10 hours a day that you actually have it. A little more than 8 to 10.
I know you're getting that.
But yeah, it's rough, and it's gotten worse. You'd think it'd be one of those things where, like, I've been on this earth 25 years, going on 26 in August. Like, you'd think I'd get used to it after a while, but no. It just gets worse literally every year. And yeah, so any little extra bit of sunlight, it's already getting to be like almost 6 o'clock ish when the sun goes down. So
it's getting
bumping
better.
that up to almost 7 o'clock ish when the sun goes down is just, spirits are going to be lifted, just absolutely lifted. I'm so pumped for it.
Yeah.
Hopefully with that will come a little bit, some more warmer weather and I should clarify weather that I can actually go out and run in and stuff like that.
Well, that's, as you know, that's my thing. All these winter months, and I tried for a while to, the world knows at this point that I run the Boston Marathon. I did it last year. I'm doing it again this year. And for a while, after daylight savings in the wrong way, because I don't want to use any other terms to describe it, I was forced to start doing this treadmill thing because, yeah, it was cool to wake up in the morning at like 5 every so often to go running before work and all that shit, which is fine. But once your runs are no longer 3-4 miles and they're instead 8, 9, 10 miles, that becomes really, really difficult to put aside like 2.5 hours before work to go for a run. It's not realistic. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to wake up at fucking 3:30 for this shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you start investing in the treadmill thing, and it makes you pretty much want to kill yourself. I've been doing it. I've been diligent about it. But goddamn, I am excited to get home from work, put on the shoes, go for a jog, and not have to worry about getting hit by a car at 6 p.m. at night.
Right.
It's that simple.
I just want to, because you haven't seen this yet. You haven't been down to my new place yet, but right across the street from our apartment, we have Riverbank State Park, which has all these different ball fields, athletic facilities. There's a gym over there. And there's this massive running track that I cannot wait to go out and, once the weather's right, just go out and start running around it because I'm with you. Like I've tried doing the treadmill thing, but it's just not the same. It doesn't satisfy the same way.
No,
so,
no.
Yeah. So daylight savings time, get here soon. We will welcome you with open arms. That all being said, horns down.
It's funny.
Go for it.
I was going to say, it's funny you use as your horns up because for me, it's like a horns confused if I were to go with daylight savings time because as much as I hate the winter and it depresses me, I kind of embrace the darkness and the misery because I don't like myself. So I'll probably miss that a little bit.
You're so grim and frostbitten.
It's ridiculous. I'm a sad panda. Yeah, so it's I don't know. Winter has its charm in a lot of ways, but I'm with you. It's a good horns up. It'll be nice to have some daylight again.
Yes. That all being said, let's move into horns down. What do you got this week? What's been pissing you off?
It's weird because work's been stupid lately. It's been better. It's been better the last day or two. Right, and we've talked about it. Work's been really fucking dumb the past week or two for no apparent reason aside from just I guess it's dumb now. Whatever. That's just the trend right now. That sucked. I mentioned the treadmills thing and how I'm just fucking over it at this point. That was going to be one. I don't really want to talk about those anymore.
What else can we talk about? What I'm trying to think.
It's all.
How about
we can talk about Arsenal? Sore subject.
Let's not. Let's not.
Shit.
My horns down. I got to talk about, last night, my roommates and I all gathered around and we watched the series finale of Parks and Recreation. Are you a Parks and Rec fan at all, or?
I am, but I always watch them like a month after the fact.
Okay.
Because Apple TV.
Right. So yeah, Parks and Rec. I won't pretend I was a fan from the get-go, but I did catch up beginning, I believe, the season before last, and have been pretty much into it ever since. And this was just really one of the better network sitcoms in general in my era, or in my lifetime. Seven mostly perfect seasons. It's the rare show that got better as it went along, closed on a high note. I mean, and we've just got just this amazing, heartwarming cast that worked so well together, and it was just a very warm show. And I'm sad to see it go, and I'm sad to see for my money, one of the best TV characters of all time, Ronald Ulysses Swanson, hanging him up.
Ron Swanson's awesome.
Yeah. And, so of course, after the episode aired last night, it was a mostly fitting finale. And after the actual episode aired last night, my roommates and I went back and watched a couple of old ones, and then they had the whole cast on Seth Meyers, so we stayed up and watched that. I didn't get to bed till like 2:15 last night. That was fun.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was bad. But yeah, Parks and Rec, I gotta pour one out. It's been a hell of a run, and I'm gonna miss the hell out of that show. So that is my horns down.
That's a good one. I mean, I feel like, I've caught up with it at this point, and I think I don't want to say it's a good time for him to go, because good shows should never actually reach that moment. I think about like Breaking Bad, for example, but it gets to a certain point where you're afraid a show might overdo it a little bit. Scrubs did, obviously Dexter did, that kind of thing. So
How I Met Your
Mother, right? Exactly. So
what's funny, because you've got these shows that don't time it right and that go off the rails completely before they actually decide to end them.
Right.
Then I was thinking about a show like Breaking Bad as well, where Breaking Bad, I think, ended at the right time and stuck the landing, but it was different for me because Breaking Bad had become so bleak that the ending kind of felt like a relief. I was actually I was thrilled to have everything resolved in Breaking Bad and just be like, oh, all right, don't have to deal with this stress anymore.
And that's a tribute to the writing, and it's a tribute to the acting. It's a phenomenal series, and it does you get immersed in it just like that. Where once Walter, I'm not gonna actually say anything, but once it's
you can say something. It's been a year and a half.
Oh, fine.
Well, statute of spoiler limitations is passed.
For what it's worth, I finished season 3 again about a month ago, or season whatever it was about a month ago. I rewatched the whole fucking thing. So when Walt dies, you do just feel like this weight off your shoulders, like, oh, all right, let's go do stuff again. It does have that effect. So again, obviously this isn't in the same sense because it's a sitcom. It's a little bit of a different ballgame, but it's sometimes things just make sense. I think I found a horns down. I found
let's hear it.
I found these beers on my porch a couple weekends ago. Actually, it was after President's Day. Is that the one we just celebrated? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That have been
the 2-year-old beers.
Yeah. And I'm drinking a Sam Summer from spring of 2013 right now, and I think I'm gonna wake up dead. It's not going well. For those unaware, I usually drink about 4 or 5 beers per episode because it's fun for me. This is not one I'm going to appreciate later.
It gets you to loosen up. You're like not very talkative without your beer.
I didn't say it wasn't strategic. Oh God, this is awful, dude. This is so bad. Oh my God.
Well, Sam Summer is crap to begin with. Like, if you add time to it, it's like the reverse of wine or the reverse of hard liquor.
Yeah,
it does not get better with age.
No, it just turns into dog shit. That's why when I have 4 or 5 beers per episode, it's the 4th or 5th.
God, how many of them were there that you're still drinking these things?
There were 12. I've had 6 of them. Granted.
Barf.
6 of those 12 are Coors Lights, and those are pretty much just water anyway. So I pounded those pretty quickly. And then now I'm just working through the rest of the Sam Adams, which took a very, very, very wrong turn, probably in the summer of 2014. That's good stuff.
Well, On that note, we'll wrap things up here. Reminder, guys, check out our website, hornsupmetalshow.com, for all of our album reviews, our recurring content, you name it, our retrospectives. It's all there, hornsupmetalshow.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We are The Horns Up on all of them. Facebook.com/The Horns Up, Twitter and Instagram @The Horns Up. For the podcast, we love having you as listeners, so we hope you will subscribe to us on iTunes, on Stitcher, on Podbean, you name it. We're there for the subscribing. And tell your friends to do the same, because honestly, like this is still our baby. You know, like the blog has gotten big, but we still love the podcast and we love when you listen to it. So share the wealth. Yeah, this has been episode 41. Thank you guys as always for stopping by, and remember, live,
love,
plow,
horns up.
We'll see you next week.